everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Sophie and in today's video I'm going to be reading some books by my favourite romance authors. So before we get into the video and I tell you what books I'm going to be reading for this vlog, please remember to like this video if you enjoy it and subscribe to my channel for more bookish content. I primarily read romance, thrillers and fantasy books, so let's get into the video. So there's 4 books that I'm planning on reading throughout this video, all from, as I said, my favourite romance authors. So the first book I'm planning on reading is The Chase by Elle Kennedy. This is the first book in the Briar U series, which is like a spin-off of the Off Campus series. I read the Off Campus series last year and the beginning of this year and really loved it. I've been eager to dive back into Elle Kennedy's writing, so I'm really excited to read this one. Then we have Wild Love by Elsie Silver, which is the first book in the Rose Hill series by Elsie Silver. This is a continuation, I guess, of the Chestnut Springs series, or it's set in a different town. It's cowboy romance. I do love Elsie Silver, and again, I did a spoiler reading vlog for the Chestnut Springs series, and I've done a few vlogs where I've read the Off to the Races series by Elsie Silver as well. A new sort of romance favourite is Anna Huang, so I'm going to be reading Twisted Hate by Anna Huang. I started reading the series at a recommendation by a lovely friend of mine, and she has fast become one of my favourite authors, so I'm really excited to get to this one. And then I feel like a romance vlog isn't complete without Abby Jimenez, so I'm going to be reading Life's Too Short, which is the 3rd book in the Friend Zone series. They're a set of companion novels, so those are the 4 books I'm going to be reading for this vlog. So I have actually started and finished reading The Chase by Elle Kennedy, which is the first book in the Briar U series. In this one we're following Summer and Colin, and Summer is Dean's sister. Dean had a book in the Off Campus series, I think it was the 3rd one, and Summer is his sister, and Colin, or Fitzy, he is mentioned quite a few times in that series. He's like friends with the original boys and he's now on the hockey team. So this book starts out with Summer has been kicked out of Brown University and she's now enrolling at Briar University, or Briar College. She goes to live in a sorority house, but the sorority sisters don't want her there due to her being kicked out of Brown University for arson. Dean manages to get her into his old house that he shared with like Garrett and Logan and stuff, and Colin, Mike and Hunter are currently living there and they have space for a 4th roommate, so Summer fits the bill and she moves in with them. Now Summer has always had like a bit of a crush on Colin, or Fitzy. He's like a gamer jock, so like he's designing his own game, he's really into gaming and things like that. He's a bit like nerdy compared to the other sort of hockey players, and he like fancies her back. He won't go there because she's Dean's sister, is basically why he's refusing to act on his attraction, whereas Summer, like, she just wants him, like she can't understand why he's so hesitant. And then basically she starts like dating one of his friends. This causes a bit of tension in the house and then we kind of go from there. I don't know if I just didn't really notice it in the Off Campus series, but I really didn't like the way some of the boys in here were talking about women. Like they kept referring to them as like chick. There was a lot of slut shaming in this one as well. Summer was having a fight with another girl about a boyfriend. Like the boyfriend tried to come on to Brenna and like touched her inappropriately, and then the girl was like slut shaming Brenna and Summer, and like they were like slut shaming her back, and I was just a bit like, yeah, I didn't really like that scene. And there was just a couple of like bits of dialogue that I really didn't like, but overall I did enjoy this one. I think I'm gonna give this maybe like a 4-star rating, or maybe like a 3.5. Summer and Colin like aren't my favourite, and I feel like there was a lot of angst and tension in the beginning of this book, and then they eventually like got together about 70% of the way through, and then it almost was like, I don't know, I feel like our characters had such a sort of personality transplant. It just didn't seem like they were the same characters at the beginning of the book, and it's not because of any like character development or anything like that. It was just odd to read and I just couldn't like wrap my head around it. It's almost like she wanted to rush finishing this book, but otherwise I did really enjoy this one. I did enjoy the representation that Summer brings. So she has a learning like disability. She really struggles with like writing a lot of things, and this is shown like when she's got to do her midterm. She does like a verbal exam rather than like a written exam, which I thought was a really interesting bit of representation. I do feel like Elle Kennedy, with like the first book in the Off Campus series with Hannah being like a victim of rape, like I feel like she brings a lot more to a romance book than just the romance. There's other stuff going on as well. But yeah, I did really enjoy this one. It was nice being back in this world, like it was nice seeing characters. Obviously we see a bit of Dean in this one, so it's nice being back with characters from the original books, and we saw a little bit of Garrett and a little bit of Tuck as well. Like it was just really fun. I mean, for me, I feel like they can't really top, she can't top The Deal and The Mistake, because like I love Logan and Grace and I love Hannah and Garrett, so like they're my top couple. She's never gonna like replace them. But yeah, I did really enjoy this one and I'm excited to carry on with this series. It's been a while, so I really need to get on to reading the rest of the series. So the next one I'm going to be moving on to is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. I feel like this might be like a billionaire romance rather than cowboy, but I'm not 100% sure. But either way, I love Elsie Silver, so I know I'm in good hands with this one. Okay, so I've just got a very quick reading update for this vlog. I have started reading Wild Love by Elsie Silver. I'm about 30% of the way through this one. So this one we're following Ford and Rosie, or Rosalie. Rosalie and Ford were like childhood friends. Ford was friends with Rosalie's brother Weston, and the three of them like spent summers together back when they were children and things like that. Ford has clearly always had a bit of some feelings for Rosie, and Rosie vice versa, and they've just never acted on them. At one point when Rosie was a teenager, she had a boyfriend and he didn't treat her very nicely, and Ford came to the rescue and picked her up. Ford is a billionaire. From the sounds of it, from what I can understand, he has like built a company that produces music and helps struggling artists or something like that. It's not really like clearly defined what he does. Like there's mentions of it, but not really sure how exactly he became a billionaire. At the beginning of this book, he is like voted world's hottest billionaire, and then on his doorstep turns up his daughter that he never knew he had. So it's not from like a one night stand or anything like that. So back when Ford was 19, he donated sperm because he wanted to buy concert tickets. This daughter is the result of that. So this daughter, her name's Cora. So his daughter Cora, her parents, so her actual parents, her adoptive, well not adoptive, like her dad died, and her mum is really struggling with depression, and basically in order for her mum to go into sort of like rehab and get some help that she needs, Cora would end up in the foster system, which she doesn't want. So she then started like digging around to see if she had any other relations, and bingo, she found Ford is actually her like biological father, I guess. I don't really know how to like word things like that. So she turns up on Ford's doorsteps and asks him for help, and Ford takes her in and helps her mum out, and we just kind of go from there. So Rosie is a sort of like big time businesswoman. It's not really clear what exactly she does, but at the beginning of this book she is working in, I think, Chicago, and her boss sexually assaults her. He gropes her, he places his hand on her bum and like, you know, moves it down. She goes to report him to HR, but he got there first kind of thing and had her terminated for being a terrible employee. So she then moved back home to Rose Hill, where this book is set and where Ford is currently living, and they kind of rekindle their friendship. She starts working for him, she becomes his business manager at Rose Hill Records, and they just have like flirty banter back and forth, and we kind of go from there. So she's helping him out a bit with Cora as well. He's not really sure like what to do, like, you know, Cora's 12 years old, he has no idea how to act around a 12-year-old, so she's sort of helping out with that as well. So I am liking this one so far. I'm just not sure how I feel about the couple. I find sometimes with like childhood friends to lovers, the chemistry doesn't feel forced, but it's like we're missing a lot of information and we're kind of like thrown into it. We know they were childhood friends and we're kind of seeing snippets of, I don't know, just kind of like, I know not buy it, that's not what I'm trying to say, but it's like it's difficult for me to like root for them and like for you to kind of like understand this friendship when you don't really see much of it build up, if that makes sense. So I am liking this one so far. It's really nice being back with Elsie Silver and her writing. I find her really easy to read and like just really fun. So I'm hoping that the couple will kind of grow on me a little bit. I do find sometimes with like romance books, like the first in the series, I don't tend to like love the couple. So we'll see how I feel about this one, but I am enjoying it so far. It's a really quick read, and like I said, I'm loving the setting, and it's a bit different. It's less like cowboy yeehaw so far, which is kind of fun as well, even though I do love my cowboy romance. Yeah, I will read a bit more of this one and check back in with you guys when I got a bit more of an update for you. Hey guys, so I'm just coming in with a quick reading update. So I did finish reading Wild Love by Elsie Silver. I'm going to give this one a 3.5 stars. I don't really know what I think of this book, to be honest with you. Like, I enjoyed reading it, but I also didn't really love the main couple. I thought that the main not the main love interest, I thought that the main character, Rosie, she was just quite annoying, really. I understand at the start of this book, you know, she's sexually assaulted at work, you know, her boss gropes her, and then she gets, you know, wrongly terminated, and she's kind of having to start afresh, and she moves back home and things like that. She was just like angry at all the wrong people in a way, and I understand like when something like that happens to you, you know, you're not yourself, you can act out and like blame people, you're angry at the world. Her and Ford, like, they were cute, like, you know, childhood friends or childhood enemy friends to lovers was kind of cute, but the way she treated him sometimes was just a bit like, I don't know, just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And you know, there's things like he's very particular about things and she's just like, you're wrong, you know. So there's a scene where, so he's very particular, he's very neat and tidy, and he likes things a certain way, which is like fine, you know, she's arranged for someone to come and paint the office. He's painting the office and she just tips the paint up and has sort of no care for the fact that she's ruined the flooring that he's paid for, and like she's ruined the office, and she's just like, oh well. And then like he gets a bit sort of not angry, but like, and then she's like, oh, you're being so selfish and like anything of yourself. And it's like, girl, you just tipped paint like all over his office. Like, I'd be pissed off. Like, if I've spent hard-earned money on it and you've deliberately, not accidentally, if you've deliberately like spilt paint on it to ruin it, just to like annoy me, when you know that it's like not a trigger, but like you're very particular about something, you're just kind of like, I just didn't really like her. They were a cute couple though, I just didn't really like her. So yeah, I gave this one a 3.5. It just wasn't really for me. You don't gel, I'm not going to gel with every couple that Elsie Silver writes, and that's okay, but I do think it was like an interesting start to the series, and it was kind of interesting to meet some of the characters that we're going to be reading later books about. So yeah, 3.5 for this one. A solid read, a good romance, like nothing really very special. I know that this series has kind of got mixed reviews, like everyone loves the Chestnut Springs series. I've not really heard too many people talk about the Off to the Races series. You know, that's her series before Chestnut Springs. In this one, people seem to either like love this one or love the second one, so I'm hoping that I'll love the second one a lot more than I love this one, but I still really enjoyed it. Like 3.5 is a good rating, just nothing special. It's definitely not a new favourite couple, new favourite romance kind of thing. So yeah, that's this one done. So the next one I'm going to be moving on to is Twisted Hate by Anna Huang, which is the third book in the Twisted series. Hey guys, so I'm just coming in with a quick reading update for this vlog. I'm about 70% of the way through Twisted Hate by Anna Huang, and I'm really enjoying this one so far. So this one is following Jules and Josh. Josh is Ava's brother. Ava was in the first book, and Jules is one of the 4 girls, I guess, that we're following in this series that are all friends together. So Jules and Ava are really good friends, and Josh is Ava's brother. And Jules and Josh, for years, ever since they met, they've hated each other. So it's like a hate to love, sort of enemies to lovers kind of romance, and there's always been a lot of tension. You can tell in like the first 2 books in the series, when we've seen Jules and Josh together, definitely been some tension, and like, you know, they really do like each other, just won't admit it. So I'm really enjoying this one so far. I do think that the smut started quite early in this one, but I think it kind of had to, because we've had so much background of these two already. If we had like another like 300 pages of like just background of this relationship, we'd get a bit bored. So I can understand why they started so early, and it wasn't like they loved each other, or even now they don't really love each other, they're still like don't really like each other. I'm really liking seeing this relationship develop. So like Jules and Josh, again, they know that they like each other, just won't admit it to themselves or each other. Like Josh goes out of his way to help Jules out and things like that, and Jules does the same, and it's just really quite nice to see. I do think I'm getting a little bit, not bored of the smut scenes, but like we've had so many that I'm just kind of like done with them now. The past few have been kind of like skimmed over, which is good. I kind of hope that kind of continues going forward, because you know, there's only so much of that you can really read without thinking like, okay, enough. But I think, again, because it started so early, that I haven't really found that with the other Anna Huang books, because it didn't start so early, if that makes sense. Yeah, I am really enjoying this one so far. I don't think it's my favourite in the series. For me, I don't think it's going to beat the second book. I really did love that one. But yeah, really enjoying this one so far. I think it's going to be like a solid 4-star read, which is really good. And yeah, I'm going to finish this one out, and I'll check back in with you guys when I'm done. Hey guys, so I'm just coming in with a very quick reading update. So I did finish reading Twisted Hate last night by Anna Huang, and I'm torn between like a 3.5 or a 4-star rating. So up until the sort of like third act breakup, this was definitely a 4-star read for me. I just thought the third act breakup and what was said and how it went down was quite toxic, and I don't know, I don't know how I feel about it. So I'm torn between a 3.5 and a 4-star. Everything else about this book I really did enjoy. I really enjoyed our character development, our character growth that both the characters went through. I kind of enjoyed the like sort of side plots. There's a whole storyline with Jules's mum and how her past coming back to kind of haunt her kind of thing. That was all really interesting. I just kind of wish she'd maybe just been a bit more honest with Josh about the whole thing. It was just a bit frustrating really, because you know that he would have just understood, especially as their relationship had progressed so much over the course of this book. But yeah, I did enjoy this one, and I'm really excited to finish out this series with the next book. So that means the final book for this vlog is going to be Life's Too Short by Abby Jimenez, which is the third book in the Friend Zone series. So I'm just checking back in. I have now started reading the final book for this vlog, which is Life's Too Short by Abby Jimenez. And in this one we're following Vanessa and Adrian. So Adrian we very briefly met in the Happy Ever After playlist. He went on a date with Sloane, and he's actually Josh's cousin, and Josh is obviously the love interest in the first book, and Vanessa is his neighbour. They've obviously known each other for quite a while, as they live next to each other, but they haven't really ever spoken. And one day Adrian's girlfriend is complaining about the baby crying in the next door's apartment, so he goes round and basically says like, can you shut the baby up, essentially. And then he offers to help with the baby while she goes and takes a shower and stuff, and that's kind of like how they meet. And it turns out that the baby that she's looking after is actually her half-sister's, and essentially her half-sister is a drug addict and just basically dumped the baby on Vanessa, and Vanessa's trying to get custody, but Vanessa has ALS, and she believes that she only has like a year or two so left to live. So she's living life to the fullest, and she's a YouTuber, she's a travel blogger, so a baby is kind of throwing her career and her plans awry. And obviously she's also worried about what's going to happen to this baby because she thinks that she's going to die in a year or so. Adrian's girlfriend very quickly breaks up with him because she's actually married, and then essentially Vanessa and Adrian kind of form a little friendship where they kind of help each other out. Adrian's life is in a bit of a rut, like he doesn't really speak to his parents, or his mum I should say. His mum remarried and he doesn't like this new guy. We don't know why or anything like that. He doesn't really see his family, and essentially him and Vanessa are kind of what each other needs at this moment. Like Vanessa is very like happy by everything that's going on in her life, and Adrian's kind of the grump, but not really. He's not grumpy, but he just like, he needs a bit of spark in his life. Vanessa's family, obviously her half sister's a drug addict, her dad suffers with some sort of like hoarding issue, and her other half brother is just like a bit of a waste of space really. So they all rely on her financially, and she basically cuts her sister off, and she threatens to do it to her dad and the half brother. Essentially they just take advantage of her, and it's really sad to see. For example, Adrian looks after the baby while she goes and sorts her dad out and things like that. So they've struck up a friendship, they're spending a lot of time together, and I'm really liking their relationship. I'm liking that neither of them really want a relationship. So Vanessa doesn't want to get into anything too serious because obviously she thinks she's going to die in a year or so she doesn't want a relationship. And Adrian isn't really looking for a relationship either. I think he just wants a bit of a friendship, but they know that they're both attracted to each other, but neither of them are acting on it. And I quite like the start of this relationship and the fact that they're friends first. So I think when we eventually do get to the romance, that it will be like a really nice relationship to watch progress. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this one. As ever with Abby Jimenez's book, with the plot I've just explained, there's obviously more to it than just the romance. There's a lot of difficult life things thrown in as well, and I'm really enjoying reading about it and seeing the journey that our characters are going to go on. So as ever, her writing's really compelling and easy to read, and yeah, I'm just really enjoying this one. I've read those first sort of 150 pages quite quickly, so I don't think this one's going to take me too long to read. So I'm going to get back to it and check back in with you guys when I've got another update. Hey everyone, so I'm just checking back in because I have now finished reading Life's Too Short by Abby Jimenez. I'm going to give this one a 4-star rating. So for me, this isn't my favourite Abby Jimenez. I still think perhaps Part of Your World or Just for the Summer is my favourite of hers so far that I've read. I've now finished this series at least. There wasn't necessarily anything wrong with it, I just didn't really connect to the characters or love them as much as I have previous couples that I've read about from her. To be honest with you, she's on like a pretty high pedestal now, so it's going to be difficult for her to get another 5-star from me, because I just love Part of Your World, Yours Truly, Just for the Summer. They were all like 5 stars for me. Friend Zone, the first one in this series, was also a 5-star, and then the latter 2 in this series are a 4-star. So it's a really good rating. I'd highly recommend Abby Jimenez if you haven't read her before. The only issue I had with this book would probably be that the epilogue kind of wrapped everything up in a neat little bow a little bit too conveniently. We had this whole struggle with our main character Vanessa believing that she has ALS, and I feel like it was kind of just wrapped up very conveniently in the epilogue, which I kind of like. I'm happy for them, but I just kind of wish that, I don't know, we kind of sat with the ending a little bit more, or perhaps she'd gotten some testing done during the actual novel, if that makes sense. So yeah, I did still really enjoy this one. 4 stars is still an amazing rating, so yeah, really happy with this one. So that's gonna be it for this reading vlog. Comment down below if you've read any of these books. I'd love to hear your guys' opinion. Please don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel for more bookish content, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye.